What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Check out this 2020 F350. Is it a 350? Did I just screw that up? Nope, it is a 350. But sweet silver spruce. You don't usually see too many of these, but what we are going to be doing today on this F350 is we're going to be installing the Ventech LHG onto this single alternator equipped 6.7 because you want heat, right? It's starting to get cold. Why wait for heat when you can have it now? All right, guys, let's check it out. What's going on, guys? Thanks so much for coming back and checking this out. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe. Hit it right there. We have 49,000 on this, and this candidate we reached out to, rocking the PSD hat. I like it. And he came from the internet, and we are going to be installing the Ventech LHG onto this single alternator equipped truck, and it is going to allow us to get coolant temp way faster. But let me go ahead and back this turd in and we will start. Okay, time to pop the hood. Here it is, the best power plant for your F Series Super Duty. It is one of my favorites, and you guys see we have no dual alternator, which is what we're going to be rocking and rolling because we are going to be installing this right here. That little contraption is going right where our secondary alternator was. Or is. Could you get rid of it? Nah. So far, just for the single alternator. But we're going to go through the installation for this product, and it's got some very nice instructions, just like S&S's. And it's all color. Tells you the new belt routing. We are getting a new belt. We're just going to be installing that bracket onto the front. And it's got all the parts. Real life size, matching up the bolts. So a lot of times when we get things like, oh, hold on, what bolt is this? What bolt is this? I like that you can actually lay the component down and see exactly what size it is. Here's an overview of the tools that we're going to need. I think we'll be okay. But continuing forward, we're going to remove the fan, the air filter, the belt. I mean, I'm sure you guys probably want to see that. I might not show you the exact procedure, but I guess we'll just do an overview. But I'm kind of excited because this is going to be monumental for trucks operated in the cold because of how we have to wait for 7 gallons of coolant to heat up, and that's not good for, you know, defrosting the window and then blowing, obviously, heat out of the vents. But before we get started, I have some footage I'm going to put up. I'm going to get set up, and you're going to watch this footage. And it is going to be 2 trucks. One truck has the supplemental heat, and one truck does not, and it has the LHG on it. We have some monitors on the dash indicating the temperature, so you can see real time what the temp is and the temp coming out of the vents. It's pretty impressive. Watch this. Let me get to the installation first step, and I'll see you guys in a little bit.
Okay, here's the setup. Under the hood, and I shot this after the test because, well, it's warmer in the shop. Here we have installed our Ventech HeatSTROKED LHG Rapid Supplemental Heater, which uses all kinds of physics and fluid dynamics to create instantaneous heat from rotation. putting the heat directly into the water jacket and the truck's climate control heater core. Inside the cab, we have mounted a temperature display that is connected to a probe for testing the air temperature coming out of the dash vent. These only read and report the temperature of the air coming out of the heater vent. We are recording other information like the engine coolant temperature with some proprietary test equipment. None of the gadgets you see here in the cab are part of the normal LHG installation. They're just here for the test. As we get situated in the cab, I'll point out that the trip with the LHG activated is shown at the top left, and the trip with the LHG deactivated is shown at the top right. A red light on the temperature gauge will indicate that the LHG is active. Here we've frozen the video at 1.5 seconds into the trip to illustrate that the heater air temperature entering the cabin is exactly the same as we start out. Since we are using the same route for both trips, we begin by leaving our offices and heading for the main road. For these trips, the truck has not been cold soaked. It was simply left unused for about 12 hours. At the end of this video, we'll include a link to our defrost testing, which used a cold soaked truck at 0 degrees Fahrenheit or -18 Celsius. We also want to note that our test truck is equipped with Ford's optional PTC supplemental cab heater, which uses electricity to supplement the cab heat when the coolant temperature is very low. We thought about disabling the supplemental heater to make the differences in the test results more dramatic, but then we thought that many trucks out there will be equipped with the supplemental heater, and so we left it on. You'll see that the difference in warm-up speed is still pretty dramatic. Let's freeze the video here at the exit from our parking lot. As you can see, 1 minute and 5 seconds into the test, the LHG has added quite a bit of heat to the coolant or water jacket. If you remember, the starting coolant temperature for the LHG activated test was 30 degrees. And in 1 minute, the LHG has raised it to 68 degrees. This has increased the vent air temperature well above freezing, while the test with only the Ford supplemental heater is still blowing below freezing air into the cabin. Because the LHG is adding heat directly to the water jacket, it is also helping to warm up the engine. Let's fast forward 1.5 minutes. We're now at 2 minutes and 30 seconds into the test. The coolant temperature with the LHG supplementing it is at 100 degrees Fahrenheit, and toasty 75-degree air is being blown into the cabin. On the other hand, the test with the LHG off isn't even close. And while the measured temperature coming out of the vents is finally above freezing, it sure doesn't feel like it. Now, we fast forward to another milestone. At 3 minutes and 55 seconds, the air coming out of the vents in the LHG-assisted test is hot at 100 degrees Fahrenheit. The cabin is warm, and if we weren't doing a test, we would certainly be turning the heater down. For the test without the LHG activated, the engine and the Ford optional PTC electric supplemental heater have been able to bring the vent air up to 57 degrees, but the cabin is still quite cold, and you have to put your hands right next to the heater vent to feel any of that warmth. With one final fast forward, we jump to the point where the LHG-equipped engine reaches its desired operating temperature of around 185 degrees. At this point, the LHG's electronic control unit detects that no additional heat is necessary and disengages the LHG. This is illustrated on our test equipment when the red light on the temperature gauge goes out. In the LHG supplemented test, the cabin has been hot for quite a while, and the engine is fully up to operating temperature. And while the non-LHG test has finally reached a temperature where the cabin is comfortable, it will take the non-LHG test over twice the already elapsed time to reach a healthy engine temperature. This leads to an important point. Installing an LHG in your truck is not only about comfort, it's also about protecting your considerable investment in your truck's engine and after-treatment system.
All right, tell me what you guys think about that little footage you guys just saw with the LHG working in progress. But I just opened up the box that you guys would get, and this is everything that comes in it. And probably should get out the whole piece that is going to make this happen. This is the LHG. Gentlemen, check it out. LHG for your Ford Super Duty single alternator. Your new belt. They give you the part numbers for the belt, and we're rocking a Goodyear part number in the kit. That will be in the instructions we have over here, where it was broke down with all of the parts that came in the kit. So if we need to get a replacement belt, all of that info will be here and can be located from Ventech. So let's get the engine dismantled. I'm gonna have to take the air cleaner and all that stuff off. Let's get some lumens on. We got it. There's the spot right down there. Gonna have to take that fan off and look at the front of this engine. All right, we are gonna start ripping this stuff off. These two clamps right here are all gonna be 7 milli. Just using quarter drive stuff. Gonna set this stuff aside. I want more room when I'm messing with the belt, so I'm gonna pop this air filter cover. Mass airflow sensor's got a tab you gotta slide up, and then a button to push. And in your arsenal, I'll put a link in the product description. You guys might want to find 2 different types of trim tools. Sometimes you need the fat one, but sometimes you need the skinny foot. So using one of those you choose, try to succeed. Look at that. That thing just fractured right off. Can you believe that? Unreal. All right, we got this cover off, and you guys saw me. I only did this up here. There's no way I did that. So somebody, someone has damaged this, and unfortunately I don't think this was me. But I'm gonna try to repair this for the time being until we get a new lid, because I don't want this to have a unmetered air leak, or an unfiltered air leak rather. So we'll put this aside and we'll fix this later. All right, this is what we wound up doing. I put a little JB weld or silicone on that piece, and what I did, you guys just saw me heat this screwdriver up, and pretty much just plastic welding this broken piece back on. I actually think that's freaking pretty nice. Maybe do one more spot. This thing was loud and it's hot. Maybe I'll go in between. There we go. Maybe one right here. Freaking A, look at that. Oh yeah. I can't believe that this freaking broke off. Is it still hot enough? Maybe I could melt something right here. Go kind of on a diagonal. Definitely hot. Although it's not factory, that freaking worked, dude. Look at that. I'm pretty proud of myself. Check it out. That's the inside. That's the outside. Definitely cooled down now. Right on camera too. That's so funny. Where were we? Right here, secondary alternator. That's right where that thing goes. But what we're going to want to first do is take off the fan, and I'm going to show you how to do that. Yeah. Okay, so we don't really have to take the fan off, but because I'm replacing the belt and I'm filming this for you guys, I want a little bit better viewing purpose for you guys. Part of the instructions here in the Ventech kit is to disconnect this electrical connector right here. and allow it to hang so you can get the belt up and off of, you know, around that electrical connector. So this light absolutely sucks. I got a 13 mil I'm gonna take out. Now you guys aren't gonna have to do this. I'm just doing a little extra step here. Got this long bolt. And then I find it's a little easier to take this trim clip off that holds the fan harness while the fan is off. It's just a really pain in the arse. But now that the fan is off, I don't have to worry about that. So I can move this. See how this electrical connector's got this little tether right here? So Ventech, they want you guys to slide this connector up, this little tab. Now you have two choices. Either you can squeeze this button here and try to pop that off. See if I can get it one-handed. Nope. Or you can take your pick and do something like this, go underneath it and pop the tab, and then you can successfully get that off. Now we have one more tether right here, and that brings me back to why you want this foot, because that is going to allow us to get into this little cavity a lot better. Try to get this thing off. All right, now that the fan is off, I left the electrical connector on. There's a little bit of a risk getting this twang off and it can bust. I'm gonna just, now that I have the fan off, I'm just gonna walk the belt around the fan and take the belt off that way. So no big deal. We're gonna take the belt off. I'm gonna use my 3/8 ratchet. Now that the fan is off, I have way more room to get my paws in there, and we're gonna push down on the ratchet. Okay, belt is off. I'm gonna work this off all the way. Now don't worry about trying to figure out the pattern. Ventech gives you guys the brand new belt routing, so it's no biggie. And like I said, because you got the fan off, it is really that much easier to maneuver stuff in here. If you don't have what I had, like the air hammer to remove the fan, then you know, it's totally up to you. Not needed, just a little bit easier to get this thing around. All right, so now I'm gonna work the belt around the fan, kind of holding the belt, pinching the belt together right here to keep these two together. And you see what will happen. Almost two more blades, and the belt is right here. So it's just working around the fan. This looks like the original one's has got, you know, 49,000 miles on it. Remember, looking for cracks. If you see cracks more than or less than an inch apart, it's time to get rid of it. But any crack in a belt, you're going to be discarding it, because no crackies are good. Okay, the next step we're going to do is remove the pulley, the smooth OEM pulley that is directly under the alternator, right here. It is a 15 milli. You can use hand tools, but I'm going to use my Milwaukee 90-degree impact. Okay, this is going to be replaced with a pulley that Ventech gives you. So it's the OEM one. Hey, look, it's the Canucks. We're not going to use that no more. We'll set this up here. And then we are going to go straight to the passenger side. And if you look right here, This is the secondary water pump. And then we have another idler right here. Same thing, same size fastener. We're gonna 15 milli. Okay, second factory idler pulley. We got more Canucks. Hey look, it's the Canada's Great White North, eh? We're gonna be removing 4 bolts. All right, in the instructions, we are now gonna be removing this 10 mil, this 10 mil, and we're gonna switch over to our 13 mil, and we're gonna take out this bolt, and we're gonna take out this bolt. And we're going to be replacing these bolts with new bolts from Ventech, and these are no longer going to be bolts, they're going to be studs. But this one looks like it needs a little extra persuasion. I think it's got one of those like black retainers on the back. That's crazy. I haven't really had that happen before. Let's see if I can walk it out. Walk it out now, walk it out. Or you do something like this. Freaking weird. WTF. Must be caught up on like some rust or something. I don't know. Threads look alright. Maybe we'll put some anti-seize on it so they go in nice. Alright, so once we're done with that, we're gonna go back over to the bench and we're gonna continue with the next step, and that is complete the LHG bracket assembly. Here it is. We're finally at that point. In the kit, we have the LHG and we have the bracket that is going to mount this to the engine. Now, you can see this curvature is going to be going against this curvature here, but I want you guys to pay attention. This little curve right here is where the wire is going to sit, and the bracket will wind up sitting something like this. That bolt hole, yep, now bolt holes lined up, bolt holes lined up. We're gonna flip it upside down, and in the kit, we have these 2 gold colored bolts. One's longer, one's shorter. This is the shorter boss, and this is the longer one. These are 15 mils. 18 foot-pounds. Loosey. I put this one in first just to get it started, but probably, there we go. 18 footies. 18 footies. Okay, let's flip it back over. Verify our wire is right where it needs to be. Now, this is Ventech's RPM sensor. All right, we're gonna take these 2 bolts here. Got a lock washer, and make sure the wire goes through. I'm gonna screw in one of these. Looks like this is maybe an 11. And then see how far off that one is? We have a split in here. So we're just gonna squeeze this together. Let's see if I can use a pair of pliers just to help me. What if I were to go right here? No, I'm not going to be able to see. What if I were to go, what if I were to open this up all the way? Trying to use my noodle. Okay, there we go. Now the washer came off. Okay, I got it floating right above it. We're successfully finger started. No resistance, no let go. That's how that's supposed to sit. Monitoring that gap right here. We'll go ahead and run these down 10 millis. Okay, that is fully assembled. Now what we're gonna wanna do is flip this back over. And if you guys pay attention right here, you see that little tiny hole in the kit in step 5.1 when we're doing the bracket assembly, they give you this little tiny Allen and this plastic tether, which is going to go like this, but is going to allow you to pass a zip tie through there, because we're going to run this wire like this, and we'll be able to zip tie this so that it's not going to be hanging down into the front end accessory drive. I am just finishing the tightening of that little plastic piece I was telling you about. We just want it snug. We're not lug nut tightening this, but it is a 2mm, and I have this awesome Astro Kit 9448. I'll put this product listing in the description, but if you guys want some bits, this is definitely a good kit. All right, now what we are gonna have to do is check the air gap for their sensor. I've gone ahead and loosened these 3mm Allens. They're nice and loose. And we need to use a 0.020 feeler gauge. And what we're gonna do is go right between here until we have just a little bit of drag. Let's see, I push these down, too much drag. Push that up, now it slides, I have nothing. We want just a little bit of drag. So I'm gonna push it all the way down. I'm gonna take the feeler gauge. Okay, so that's too tight. I have just a right amount of drag. I'm gonna go ahead and just snug these and just retest. Okay, let's see, we got minimal drag. I think that's good. All right, here we are. Now we're in the pulley section. We have the 2 new pulleys that we got from Ventech, and we are now gonna need to assemble all of the stuff that you see in here. We have 2 bolts. We're gonna need 1 lock washer. This component right here, this one is this right here. So we're gonna drop that into the front. We're gonna take our big bolt and the lock washer. We're gonna put that through. And then on the back is our big flat washer. This is now gonna go onto the bosses that we took the factory pulleys off. So we have the next pulley. Okay, we have our fat washer. We have our lock washer. Gonna go through, gonna flip this over, put our flat washer on, and then we can bring these over to the truck, and we're gonna put these in the new spots that these pulleys go. The passenger side is gonna go in the exact same spot, but if you look at where the driver's side pulley was, it was in this hole. You guys see the difference? We are going to be putting the pulley in this hole now. So they have it indicated in the instructions. We're not putting it in that hole. We're going to be putting in the boss right above it and to the left. So let's go take these over to the truck and just finger start them in loosely. New pulley spot. Let me take the socket off. It is a 17 millis. But we're going to go ahead and finger mess this right into that boss. kind of tightening we're gonna get. This is gonna have to go all the way down just like I was. All right, light fell. Now, these aren't lug nuts. These are supposed to be torqued, but if you don't have a torque wrench, we're gonna wanna just snug it. Like, you don't wanna keep going. This is tight. This is not gonna go anymore, and our pulley is spinning freely. That's the most important thing. It's spinning freely and it's not wobbling. Everything is nice and tight. And now I gotta go on a search and rescue to get my light, and I'm successful. We need to put it over there. Now, we took the pulley out. You can see the shininess of where it used to be, but now we're gonna be using this boss right here. And I'm gonna try to stick my hand down in here. Almost lost the flat washer. 17 milli. Got a little bit of better angle of attack on this side. Okay, same thing, let's snug it down. Right here, snug, exactly the same, not loose, but is spinning freely. Okay, next step. These two 13 mils that we left in here that hold the fan bracket on, I'm just loosening, and I'm going to tell you why. Because if you remember, when we took out that bolt that was up here, it was coming out really hard. Well, this was just bound up, and I want it to go in easy. We have two threaded rods that we need to install, one into here. If we can thread this in by hand with no issue, kind of like this is doing now, then we're not going to have to put two nuts on here and tighten it. You know how you tighten a stud with two nuts on it, and you tighten the nuts together, and then you use the outside nut to tighten your component. But we're getting to the end. See it jiggling this around helps at all? Oh yeah. Much easier. Not fighting that. Okay, I think I have it in as far as it will go. I don't feel the stud is not turning anymore. Okay, so that looks about right. How much is sticking out? We're supposed to have about 1 inch sticking out. Same thing with this stud. Oh, this one's going in way easier. Okay. Okay, we got about the same amount of studs sticking out, so that's good. What I'm gonna do, so I can tighten these other ones, is I'm gonna put this bolt in here that I took out to remove the fan. I'm just gonna have it in there filling that hole. So now I'm gonna come back and tighten these 13 mils on the bottom of the fan bracket that we just took loose, so that we could get those studs in. Okay, studs installed. We'll take this bolt back out. That's for our fan. This one's coming out nice and easy because we kept the alignment of the holes. We have that stud and this stud. I like it. I like it. All right, next step. The next step we're gonna do is, it's very important to locate this EGT connector that goes into the little EGR pipe. Again, while I was telling you about the 2 different size footed trim tools, I'm gonna pop that out and it's gonna look like this. Now, if we pan out a little bit, you're gonna see this trough that is underneath the intake manifold. And we're gonna kind of just stick that harness connector right in that trough so it looks something like that. Still in there secure. It's sitting right here in this trough, right behind the boss that it was sitting in. And kind of just tuck the wire into itself, pull it a little bit, get some of that slack out, and then you can stick the wire kind of down next to the other wire harness in that trough, and you'll now have more room. LHG going in. Set this puppy down in here. Finally in there. Oh my goodness. But what I had to do is that first pulley that we put on, I had to loosen it back up and kind of put the LHG bracket behind it. And then I'm going to put the final tighten on this pulley. There we go. Get the ratchet. Give this a quick check. Boom, there's our tightening. Okay, last 2 bolts going to the LHG. We have a long one and a short one. We got 144 milli and 130 milli. The longer one goes right here. Give it a little jiggle jiggle. Okay, let's see what size these are. 13s. Okay, the shorter one's gonna go in the last bolt hole that secures the secondary water pump. Okay, that's finger tight. It's not pulling back out. The shorty wobble. I love it. Love it. Let's get a little extra turn. Boom, I like it. Now, the last 2 fasteners we're gonna put on the bottom of the LHG on those studs, and these are 13s as well. Gonna do a little contortion, but I am gonna be able to get the deep well 13 in and do something like this. This is why taking the fan off was just a little easier for me to access, you know, all the front of this stuff. All right, we have one more 13 right here. Tight. Check it out. That's actually pretty slick. I mean, that's exactly where the secondary alternator is going to go. We just have this different contraption in here that, I mean, really wasn't that bad to install. So, I guess the next step we're going to do is go through adding the new belt. We've already torqued this down. We have a very special belt procedure, and it looks like they want us to put the belt on, and then this is the last part the belt goes on. So put it all on. That's the pulley we're installing the belt on. Have a second person help with the belt routing. Begin placing the belt on the tensioner. We can go through that. Once the belt's in place, we want to make sure that it's seated on all of these grooves on every pulley, and then we're going to be installing the coolant hoses. All right, we're going to disconnect the driver's side negative We're gonna take the passenger side battery out. We need to get to some fasteners, or I should say the hose for the heater core. And I want you guys to have a little better room. Take this off. That hold the box to the truck. And then this should pop right out. There's not a lot of things that attach anything on the bottom like the older years did. Okay, so we are going to be running our wiring through here, but we need to locate our pass-through wires because we're going to need to go into the truck with a couple of circuits. We're going to be cutting some hoses. We're going to be going for 1 1/4 inches off of both of these 90-degree ends. I seem to have left my hose cutters in my home base toolbox, so I'm going to have to use a fresh cutter. All right, let's go and chop these. Wish I would have had my hose cutter. Let's go over to the hoist. Let's cut this off. Okay, hoses are cut. Next step. Okay, we're gonna mock these hoses up. This hose right here is going to the heater core. Okay, I've taken the PCM connectors all off just to get a little bit more room here. I'm mocking it up to the firewall. Let's kind of get this out of the way. Mocking this up to the firewall. I like the way this is routed. Give it a little slack. I like this. I'd say we're gonna cut this like 1 inch before this sticker. Let's go mock this back up. Let's put this on the LHG. This is the port that's going, like I said, to the firewall. See what kind of working room we have. Gonna add this hose here. Let's see. Okay, we got way too much. Let's cut off the sticker. Okay, redo. Right. I like that, but I still think we can keep this a little closer to the engine. Let's take off another inch. No, let's take some more off. Okay, we're getting very close to the end of the space that we're gonna need. Let's mock this up. Let's push this into the hose. We're gonna do a little silicone. Spray this on the end. Clamp. Clamp. End. Okay. Let's check it out. Okay, that could go there. I like the way that is. Could we take a little bit more off? Do we leave it like this? That look too much? I think this is gonna be it. This is gonna be the length for the hose that is going to our heater cord. So what I'll do, since this was sitting in here like this, I will keep this clamp on the belly side of this so it doesn't contact any harnesses or any other hoses over here. All right, hose complete. Hose end tightened. I dig it, I dig it, I dig it. Very factory. We'll set this aside. Let's get the other hose taken care of. All right, by the way, these hoses were the exact same. We're making them the length that we need. So this last hose is going in this hose right here. Okay, so that's how this is gonna be sitting. So we are gonna have this piece sticking out of here. That'll be pushed in like another 1/2 inch. So if this is on here, then that means we're gonna be somewhere right here. Let's see, before we lose that, let's see what kind of alignment issues we're gonna have if we cut it right between my paws. Let's check it. This one here, let's put this one in the back, and we'll take this and kind of mock it up in here. Excuse me, one. And then, I don't know, we'll go something like this. I think that'll look good. We'll go ahead and fully push that on. Let's get another clamp. Tightening. Oh yeah, that looks good. That looks good. We can still orient this in a way where, you know, this clamp isn't going to be hitting anything. So let's get these two hoses connected to the LHG and get the coolant lines tight. Oh, you gotta remember to put your tool on tighten before you go ahead and try to do this on camera. Okay, 8 milli. We got that nice and tight. Let's get the next one. Now we're going to hook those to the actual heater core. Okay, clip disconnected in. And we'll move all this stuff out of the way once we get this down in here. Okay, this one will connect to the heater core. On, and we're tugging. Okay, so it's going to kind of sit something like this. Let's go ahead and get our PCM cover. All right, we're gonna zippity-doo-dah this hose to the main E-Loom. I like that. And then I'm gonna take another zippy and I'm gonna go to the same part, but I'm gonna tether it in 2 different spots. Okay, got enough slack between the hose and the engine. Okay, we'll go ahead and cut these off, cut this off. So I tethered the top hose in 2 spots. I think I'm gonna tether this other hose. I'm gonna tether it to the same E-Loom, but I'm gonna tether it here in the middle because I want it to be, I don't want it to be out here. I want it to be underneath here. So we keep that clearance battery box. All right, I dig that. Everything's ran. I like it. I like it, I can dig it, I can dig it. Go ahead and cut this zip tie off. And we're gonna be ready to locate your pass-through wires, which we took some time to find. It was kind of a pain in the butt, but we found them. They're directly underneath the battery junction box. And you're gonna pick 2 wires, and you're gonna go pick the other 2 wires that are inside the truck because all 4 of these go through the firewall. We need 2 out here and 2 inside. Wiring is done. Everything is plumbed in. I just want to briefly show you guys the wiring. I didn't want to show you every step because it was just not gonna be conducive to a good video. So the electrical connectors are all only going to go on to their specific connections. So you cannot mess that up. Same with these other big bolt connectors. Ventech is going to include in their kit zip ties that have the Christmas tree clips on, and it's going to allow you to tap into that same hole where the secondary Ford alternator wiring is on the truck. And I'm going to go all the way around. You see the wiring's kind of on the belly over here, and I have the wiring right here that goes to the ECU kind of wrapped on the inside of the heater hoses here that tapped into the heater core lines. And this is kind of where it's going to chill and stay. I'm going to get some Velcro. We're going to Velcro it to the top of the case here. And this is power and ground. But the one leg of harness that you're going to have to go down underneath the truck. I'll show you where that is here in another shot. But this is the ambient temp sensor, and that is how the ECU knows the temperature of what's going on the outside to activate the LHG to start generating heat. So after taking the battery box out, which was definitely a good job, I'm going to put the battery box back in. I am going to hook up the battery connections for that. And before I forget, the other 2 wires that come off of the ECU wiring go to the pass-through wires. Refer to their schematic, but we're only going to use, there's 2 small wires and 2 big wires. We're going to use the 2 big wires, a white and an orange with a white. And the orange with the white goes with the pink, and the gray just goes to the plain white. And we're going to grab those 2 wires inside the truck and continue forward with the installation of the switch that we have here so that you can deactivate the system. And it's no-brainer. I'm going to go over here to the left of the steering wheel, and that is going to be able to complete this installation. Don't forget about Livestream Wednesday. All right, so now we're going to be underneath the truck, and I was telling you guys about that other ambient air temp sensor. So let me show you where I put that. Main harness right there. I have it coming off right there. Let's get that to focus. There we go. I zip tied it to this harness. It's going to kind of be dangling here in the Airstream, and that's going to tell our LHG what the ambient temp is, because we don't need to be generating heat if it's 100 degrees out. This is only going to be working 50 degrees and below. All right, pretty freaking sweet. You all know how to pull this down. I wound up using a step bit and just kept drilling through. I took it in and out a bunch of times, getting the right diameter for this. It said 5/8, so I just went to 5/8 right there. Stuck the sticker down, fed the wire all the way through and had it dangling, and then I had to slide the collar on the end of the wire and screw it onto the back of this. And I got it attached underneath the dash. I have it, excuse the light, I had to cut my zip tie, but I'm gonna run it up here so it's out of the way. And I have the wire coming out here, came down under the carpet. There's the pass-through wires. Yes, those were a bugger. And then our fuse 35, which is right there. You pull the fuse out, install the fuse into the extra slot in the holder, and then plug this back in. That is going towards the LHG to power that ECU. And then really the last thing we're gonna do is mount the computer box right here, almost, and conclude the installation of this Ventech LHG. We are finally started up. The Ventech box is going to go through a series of green lights, just like it's doing right now. It's actually purging air out of the cooling system. Here's what the unit looks like. Finally installed on the truck. You see it, I mean, it's pretty slick. It takes up literally the same amount of real estate as the secondary alternator. This is ECU brain, ambient temp, RPM, voltage, run okay. So we're gonna keep allowing this thing to warm up. It's gonna take about 6 minutes of running, and we're gonna wait for the lights to finally stay green, and when the clutch is engaged, that liquid heat generator is going to be moving coolant. We're going to be slicing, dicing that, and hey, creating a lot of friction, which is going to give us our heat. All right, purging cycle continuing. All right, now it's got halfway through the cycling procedure. Cycling the clutch on and off. Clutch engage, and it's going to go through this until it is primed, until it's purged all the air out. Yeah, you can see it moving. We got a speed sensor. We have a speed sensor sitting right there. We have the adjust the gap on that sensor right there for the clutch. But this is pretty much all that it is going to be doing. We'll be checking for leaks. Go back over here to the heater cord. I don't see any. That looks good. I gotta get some Velcro to Velcro that back down. But this is the last step to get heat. It is done. The clutch is no longer cycling on off, so its self-test and purge cycle is finally done. We have our switch. Let's go ahead and turn that off. The temperature right now is not going to have us need the clutch to be on. Right now it's greater than 50 degrees and it's not going to come on. So tell me what you think about this in the comment section below. We're going to have a special discount code for you guys to get this liquid heat generator from Ventech. Tell me what you guys think. Remember to like, comment, sub, share. I'll catch you guys next time. See ya! Okay, I said ditch the Velcro. No Velcro for the Ventech. I like this zip tie feature to the battery harness. And plus, the next generation of these are going to be 10 times smaller than this. So, no more bulky box coming soon, and you'll be able to retrofit that to the new one. So, just FYI.